Hi
Hi,
guys.
everyone.
Welcome to How to Build a Website That Sells. We just popped in here early for all of you keen beans. So if you're already here, let us know that you can hear and see us. Just pop a comment in the comments box.
Yeah, right in the chat box that you can hear and see us. We'll just wait a couple of minutes until everybody jumps online.
Hope everyone had a really nice day today.
Yeah. It was okay here in Sydney today.
And thank you for giving up your night to join us tonight. So you're taking the first step to starting getting yourself online or enhancing your website. Oh, hi, Katie. You can see and hear us. We've done a couple of webinars, each with their challenges, so we always love to hear that.
Hi, Melinda.
Yay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Always good to know that
it is always good to know.
Hear
There's nothing worse than that lurch of the stomach of like, we can't see anything, it's a black screen, and we have been there. We've come out the other side of websites and webinars.
I know. We feel like we're pros now, hopefully. Yeah.
So hopefully you guys have shut down all of your social media tabs. Hayley, you should do the same.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And to scribble down some notes.
You're learning a lot.
Yeah. Turn off that Netflix.
Oh, no, come on. 1 hour.
So we'll just wait a couple more minutes to get started. We'll do some juggling.
Yeah. Maybe if you want to tell us about your business.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
If you've got any questions at this point before we get started.
Yeah, we can tailor a little bit knowing who's kind of on the line based on what you want to know and, what your business is all about. Or even if it's a side hustle and you're not calling it a real business yet, it's still a real business, and part of that is getting into that mind frame of it is real, and it's going to become even more real when you get it up online. So tell us what you're interested in, even if it's still a seed of an idea at this point, and we can help make it real for you.
Yeah, we can help at all stages of business, whether you're at concept stage or whether you've got a website but it's just still not looking right, because we understand that as well. We understand that, sometimes it takes a lot to refine it, but you don't necessarily want to pay a developer to refine it. So this is all about just getting into the headspace of, creating a website. Yeah.
All right, well, we might as well get started, and anyone else that's late, well, shame to them. They can catch the replay.
Yeah.
So, Hayley, you're better at this part.
Okay.
Screen share.
So we'll switch to screen share.
So hopefully you can see our screen, and for everyone wanting to ask questions, we'll actually be answering the questions, or Hayley will be, at the end of this masterclass. And that's mainly because it's hard to juggle the comments box and the presentation at the same time. So stick with us and we will answer those questions at the end. So
fabulous.
Over to you, Hayley.
All right. So what we're going to get into tonight is, why you even need a website that generates sales, and the fundamental basics to actually get up online, some very key important considerations. And we'll be doing a live Q&A at the end. So don't be shy in, popping a question in the chat box. We won't be able to answer you immediately, but there will be time for Q&A at the end.
Cool.
Yeah, so as we mentioned before, clear all possible distractions, close your browsers down. And it's such a simple thing, but to get the most out of this masterclass, we really want it to, to be effective for you. And, turn off Netflix, grab a notebook, because you probably will, no doubt, look back on these notes and, pour yourself a glass of wine.
Get comfy. Who says that you can't build a website and get your drink on?
Yeah, so we'll be offering 10 free professional website audits at the end. So what that means is if you've created a beautiful website, but, you're just not quite sure where you want to take it or the next step or how to improve it,
Or maybe it's already terrible. Maybe you've tried your best and, you're not an expert, so that's all cool. Hayley will have a look for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give it a once over. So if you stay on this call until the very end, the first 10 people that are, then we'll be offering you website orders. So we'll send you an email and let you know that if you're a lucky winner.
Yay!
Yay.
Special bonus.
So a little bit about us. Karina and I are digital marketing experts. I've had 2 successful e-commerce baby stores, Max Nolly and Petite Bamboo, and I've been a web designer developer for the last 7 years.
Yeah, and I'm in digital marketing and got my start in-house about 7 to 8 years ago at a startup. So learned everything I know by doing it myself, and then decided to branch out and start my own business, helping other small businesses about a year ago. And that's when Hayley and I joined forces as well to form ID Digital, which is all about empowering you guys to actually get it done yourself and to take that little seed of idea and make it into a real business.
Yeah. So going back to the early days, this is me with my beautiful daughter. You can see how tiny she was. She was born 10 weeks early. Karina and I are actually on a ferry going over to see a friend, and my waters broke.
We were. We'll never forget that day.
No, really key important day.
I thought we were going for a nice long lunch. No, other ideas.
Yeah, so it was a very big surprise. But there was actually a lot of time while she grew because she was essentially a well baby, and there was lots of free time to really think about my life and where I was going.
And so she was hospitalised for quite some time.
Yeah, she was hospitalised for 3 months. So,
that's a long time.
In that time, I really thought about it and thought, well, my brother is an entrepreneur, so is my father and my stepfather. So it's kind of always been in my blood to start a business. And this is a really good opportunity because obviously I was essentially on maternity leave and I really just had no other, nothing else to do but to just sit and, watch time go by. And that's when I created Max Nolly.
So, your first baby store, e-commerce store.
It was my first baby store. And, I was very new at business. I looked at Gumtree and was about to buy a business and thought, well, actually, no, I can just set one up myself. And it really is that easy. And I'm a bit of a doer and I'm very, motivated and driven and thought, well, no, I don't know anything about setting up a business, but I thought this is a good opportunity to, just use that that time really wisely. So I started on BigCommerce, a platform that I, really started to get very frustrated with. I would spend countless hours on the phone to,
the support at BigCommerce. I remember you still talking about how hard can it be?
Yeah. And I was really getting frustrated by the limitations on BigCommerce. And if any of you are on Shopify or Squarespace or any of the self-hosted platforms, you can probably relate. A lot of platforms, they're limited with SEO, with functionality, especially if you're an e-commerce store, you need to have lots of shipping and product functionalities, payment, especially in terms of afterpay.
So thinking about the functionality down the track, self-hosted platforms, you can get something up pretty fast. And I know that we're going to cover the benefits of all the different platforms, but I can understand where the frustration was coming from when you just want something to work the way that you imagined it to.
Yeah, so I essentially, began to build my own. And, I really found a passion for, getting up online and, figuring out what the best platform was to be on, which is essentially WordPress. And although, WordPress is so far different from a self-hosted platform, which is, essentially an instant website where it's ready-made and it just, comes to you like an open book, I really invested the time to learn how to, and I'm completely self-taught, how to build websites, just by watching YouTube videos.
And so this is a screenshot of your second baby e-commerce store that you built on WordPress.
Yeah, for sure. So although I look back on it now and think, there's so much that I could change, I got so many compliments on it and, really found a passion for creating because I could channel my energies into helping other people.
And so that's what you did.
I know. So I became a web developer. That was it. And I learned how.
And this is why we're all here tonight.
Yeah. So, I wanted to share my skills to help others. And especially because my skill set was growing, I learned how to, learn everything there is to know about coding. And yeah, I began to make a business of that too, just like I did with Susan from Kinesiology Effect. So she was one of my very first clients, and she came to me with a brief that was, she wanted a mobile tablet responsive website, one that, was generating a lot more traffic for her site and just a lot more leads. She was sort of sick of her website just waving in the wind, not really doing anything for her and her business.
I'm really impressed that she came to you with such, I guess, a strong idea of the functionality of the website, because I can imagine that a lot of your clients, are concerned with aesthetics, which are important, but really what you're looking to build is a website that sells, hence the name, of the webinar. You can have a blog and there's lots of different ways of having a website, but there should always be a purpose and a call to action, and your website should be built around that purpose. And I think also knowing that she had to have a website that was mobile responsive. For any of you guys that don't know, over half of all internet traffic, it actually comes from mobile devices, be it an iPad and a phone. So it's really important that your website also looks good on mobile. If you think about how much time you spend on the couch browsing with your own phone, that makes sense. But I think it can often be the forgotten step when you're building a website, because you're probably doing it on desktop and thinking, that looks great on desktop without giving mobile much thought.
Yeah, that's right. And that's, kind of handy for SEO as well, because
oh, totally.
Yeah. It has it's all about the user experience.
Well, so everyone knows you don't want to spend too much time scrolling or doing that pinching thing,
or the pinching thing. Yeah.
For Google, SEO, and that is my background. So I will speak to a bit of the SEO pieces of website builds, that it's all about a good user experience, and that's what Google is looking for and rewarding. And obviously having a website that is looking good on mobile is a huge thing for a user. So Google also values it. And then obviously lead generation is what you want your website to be doing, understanding where you should be putting call to actions, or even knowing that you have to have somewhere for your visitor to click to get in contact with you or to purchase in the first place.
Yeah, I've seen time and again websites that just have no clear call to actions. What do you want your user to do when they land on your website? They may not have, you may not have, a phone number, contact us forms, any kind of clear purpose for that user to do. So
I'm pretty sure Susan was happy with the end result. Yeah,
she was really happy. So she did get a lot of big results. So obviously more clients and more visitors. So really more visitors that led to clients, and her ROI was huge. So even to this day, and this was years and years ago, she still says that she gets compliments on the website. She has, a ton more leads, and, she's kind of well known in her area for what she does, which is a kinesiologist. So she was really happy.
Is that eyes? Yeah.
That is a kinesiologist and looks at, I think it's kind of like energy in the body.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it's sort of in the spiritual field.
Right.
Yeah, and there's more meaning than that. Sorry, Susan, I just don't have a...
In case you're online tonight.
Yeah, I know.
But it's interesting, the distinction as well between visitors and clients, because I think a lot of times, we can be focused on traffic, especially as a digital marketer. It's easy, I guess, to show great results when you're just purely looking at traffic, because there's lots of, I guess, little quick hacks to generate traffic via different channels. But clients is something that you can't really trick. And once you get that traffic on site, the traffic becomes a client if you're able to have a website that converts them from traffic to customer. So I really like that, she didn't just get great results and that she was bringing thousands and thousands of visitors per month, which is also awesome, but they resulted in real clients, which is, real dollar figures for her.
Yeah, so she saw a massive increase. And, she started with a website that really was just a showcase style website that, you could barely figure out the phone number to contact, and her contact us forms were just almost non-existent, or a really tiny form that was just hard to fill out. There was so much wrong, and I guess, she really reaped the rewards of, a new website that was built properly.
And there it is, looking great on tablet.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah.
So 500% increase in sales.
Yeah, yeah. And that was a while back. So obviously I don't know her exact sales, but I know that, they're very conservative, and she was really happy. And, I think at first she was sort of saying, I've noticed there's more contact us forms being completed. So more email inquiries, then more phone inquiries. And then it was up to her really of how she,
converted that lead once. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously she had some great processes in place.
Templates. Autoresponder maybe via email.
Yeah.
Write all these things down.
I know, right?
I think you get to the point of like bringing in traffic and leads, but the conversion part, like it's about setting up business processes to make it easy. Right. I mean, but that's not a bad problem to have. That you're bringing in so many leads and clients for your website that you don't know how to auto service them.
Exactly. I think she even said at one point she got a CRM, so a customer relationship management sort of tool that like managed, the inquiries and then I guess following up. And yeah, so the growth with her website was huge. And so she was really happy.
And why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, I know, right? So some of you might sort of say, look, I'm doing really well on Instagram.
Which is awesome. Well done. Firstly.
Absolutely great. And a lot of people say, Facebook is a bit naff these days and Instagram is where it's at, or that they may already be on Instagram and killing it.
And on Facebook and killing it, like have, selling items direct through their Facebook page via the whole private message thing. I think there's a shop now button now, but it's still, I guess, isn't the easiest way to transact because that automation piece is really difficult. I mean, chatbots are coming and that sort of thing, but there's nothing like sending that lead into a funnel, or you can't connect up, I guess the rest of your business processes from social media.
No.
It's still hard. It might be coming, but it's hard.
And the problem is social media is that you don't actually own your social media. So you don't own your Instagram account or your Facebook. They belong to Facebook. So Facebook owns Instagram as well. All belongs to them. So at any point, and you may have heard this, they can shut it down. And, you may never get it back, and it's known to happen. So,
I mean, the thing is, if you are selling lots on Instagram and Facebook, again, I'll say well done. And they're great supporting channels. And I can understand how you might question why you even need a website. But for those reasons, the fact that you can't automate a lot of business processes and it's not your IP. And Hayley, you've got a great story about that.
You really can't rely on social media alone. And, where are you sending traffic? Let's just say you've got, 1 million followers on Facebook, on Instagram, and, say, the same on Facebook. Well, where are you sending them? Especially with Instagram, you should be having your website link in your bio. Otherwise, there's nowhere. And what could happen is you could go to Instagram jail like I did. I was plodding along and here I am.
Your mug shot.
This is my mug shot.
Is this you being Insta famous?
I was doing all the right things. I wasn't using any kind of automation tools. They just decided to shut down my account. So I went to log in. No, I went to post and, it was taken away. So I had to write to Instagram, which there is no support, by the way. So if this happens, this is what you do. You write to Instagram.
I've heard that Facebook support's okay. Instagram, terrible.
They don't really have support. So I had to, but they did say that if I wanted my account back, this is what I had to do. So I came up with this black warning on my account that said I needed to do this, my name, my business name, and that particular number. So
to show that you were a real person and not a bot.
I think so. Yeah. Not that I was doing anything spammy, but
maybe you were just doing too well on Instagram and building your followers too much.
They didn't want to have me to have all this success. So I don't know. But what I did was take this shot and send it to Instagram via their Facebook page. And look, I eventually got it back. But the point of the moral of the story is I didn't have a website at this point of time. So what if this was my sole source of income?
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Just like that, Instagram has cut off your revenue stream.
Exactly. And through, at the mercy of them and, you're kind of under their terms. This is the thing about social media.
So if you're not at the stage of, you haven't built your website yet, I guess these are just considerations for you. Start building your following on social, but don't rely on that in order to then sell your stuff.
So
again, webinar name.
Yeah, that's right. So it has to be, there has to be either a goal, or this is to sort of highlight the importance of having a website, even if you may be killing it on social media. Not just in social media, absolutely vital, but yeah, it needs to be an ecosystem. Now, Facebook, this is what happened to our friend Sarah. All of a sudden she woke up, she's an accountant, she woke up one day, Facebook page got hacked into. So it wasn't that she lost it, it's just that she never got it back. So she'd spent, this is her post in another group saying it was 3,500 fans, and all that she'd worked so hard, and she did get a lot of business on her Facebook page, and it just went. So, she spent a week pretty stressed that she couldn't get it back, writing to support. They were looking into it. Another company had completely hacked over the top of it. She never got it back, and so she just had to start a new page that really does nothing for her. So now she reinvested in her website and got a completely new look and feel, and so I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, because she said she hadn't given attention to her website for quite some time, thought it was doing the job, but then
not mobile tablet responsive.
Yeah, and then added like an auto functionality for you to actually upload your tax return direct onto the website. So I think it's also an important note. We're constantly improving like the way that we can actually DIY websites and that sort of thing. And there's never been a better time to build a website, just because of the functionality that you do have access to at your fingertips that you can get up pretty easily. It's better than building a website 5 years ago, where it was a lot harder to DIY, and it was very clear that your end product wasn't as sophisticated as what a custom web build could deliver.
That's a really good point.
It's actually true. So 5 years ago, she probably couldn't have incorporated that functionality on her own, but nowadays she can, because we've come such a long way, like in all areas of the world, but also, in terms of website builds and how easy it is.
It's become really accessible, and the thing about Sarah is that she said that now she has this asset that's hers. Her website is hers. It's on WordPress. It belongs to her. And now she's concentrating her efforts on email marketing, SEO, making sure that, she built her website herself, and she, it looks amazing. It looks so professional, and she's an accountant. She's not a web developer.
So let's give her a shout out. Head over to Freshwater Taxation. We're Sydney based, and so she's based on the Northern Beaches, Freshwater being a beautiful beach there. So anyone needs a tax return, why not? But why do you need a website? I think we've made that point pretty clear. For lead generation, to sell your stuff.
To sell your stuff. Absolutely. So, some of the key points are, for credibility, often when you're looking up, a business to transact with or deal with, you want to make sure that they're online. So that online presence is just so important in business.
It's the first port of call, like even if you're meeting someone IRL, so in real life, you normally jump online to check out, and I'm suspicious straight away if I can't find a website. I kind of think, are you legit? And I think everyone has that thought.
Like if they're just on social media or just on LinkedIn, I just wonder, are they a real business? Do they know what they're doing? And I think that's so important that that's a consideration. You want your website to be more than just a showcase of your stuff, but you're also, you want it to be multi-purposeful.
Yeah, like if you're a photographer or service-based business, like, you might want to actually show your wares and not have an e-commerce functionality, but there should always be a way to get in touch with you very easily. You're a photographer showing your portfolio. Maybe it's just a nice house for you on the internet, but then you probably wouldn't be on this webinar sell stuff. But, you at least want to be able to have customers contact you to book you for an event, and like all of that functionality, as well as having a beautiful showcase of your images.
Absolutely. And I think that even if you're a service-based business, a lot of those service-based businesses are moving towards selling digital products online, whether it's an ebook, whether it's
that's true,
or some kind of top resources list, something that is a digital download, and that's totally doable, and you can totally put that on your site pretty easily. So, the objective of having a website is, so we've discussed driving sales, Obviously, super important, especially if you're an e-commerce business. It's kind of not enough to just have an Etsy store or an eBay store where you're paying all their fees. Why pay their fees when you can have your own website?
It's funny because I just watched Girl Boss, and that's, that story has a different ending. But she started on eBay, and eBay shut down her store.
No way.
Yeah. And then that's how Nasty Gal was born. And she then shut down, and that gave her the motivation that she needed to actually build her website.
Sometimes you think the worst thing is actually the best thing,
And then, of course, the whole accessible around the clock, which sounds corny, but you can actually make sales while you're sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
Especially now in neck of the woods. In Australia, a lot of the action is going on while we're sleeping. So there's nothing better than waking up and knowing that your website has been working hard for you overnight.
Yeah.
While you've literally been sleeping. That's a good feeling if you have everything set up correctly.
Yeah. So, gone are the days of just having, and even if you do have a bricks and mortar store, that's great, but also having that online component. I know when I had my baby wear store, mums would be up late at night breastfeeding and shopping for the little ones. And so I would get orders all throughout the night. And that was, really important for me to sort of think, no, my website needs to be ultra amazing on mobile tablet responsive so that they could, scroll with one hand, breastfeed in the other, and shop away.
And then, of course, cost effective.
Yep.
And we'll take you through this more towards the end of the webinar, the costs involved, but it's not much compared to so many other channels. And often you make a very small investment initially, and there's not really a whole lot of ongoing maintenance fees. So it's really one of the most cost-effective channels. And I will call it a channel, and that's our other piece around marketing, because if you are doing Facebook ads or paid advertising down the track, you need somewhere to send those leads. So if you're set up an online ad, where are those customers going once you drive? You have to drive the traffic somewhere, and so you're driving that traffic to your website or a dedicated landing page on your website. But you need that website to be able to run any of those digital ads.
I know, you'd be surprised. So you can't just set up a Facebook ad. Where are you sending them to? I mean, it makes sense now that you say it, but if you're not familiar with digital marketing, you need to understand that, you need to have landing pages or your website. And, for example, if you're an e-commerce business, perhaps you've got an online store and you're wanting to generate leads from Facebook, you may want to advertise your products via carousel. Well, where do you plan on sending them to? How will that be one big automated machine?
Yeah, how does that work? What's that funnel and where are they going? I mean, you can always run, a Facebook like campaign and not have the landing page, but
have
value
sort of
for money.
Empty campaign. Yeah, which doesn't really mean much. Yeah.
So these letters are going to fly away.
Don't you love my keynote presentation?
Great effects.
Okay. So just like Connie from What She Pitches, she had a Instagram page that was just killing it. She had heaps of fans, heaps of engagement, and so she's a flat lay photographer. And she wanted to be taken seriously as a business. So to kind of charge, her premium rates, which she's more than entitled to, because the stuff is totally amazing.
And high in demand, flat lays.
Yeah, it's kind of high-end photography. And, she didn't feel that just having an Instagram account was enough. And, I don't really blame her. If she wanted to, be taken seriously as a content creator, then she really needed to have a website, which was her motivation, essentially behind getting a website. And how would she be found through other means, such as other channels such as Google, and how would she do any kind of Facebook advertising or AdWords? Well, she couldn't. She was really relying on word of mouth and Instagram. But I remember her words were, I need to take my business to the next level. And she's local to me. And so we met and she went over her needs, discussed her needs. And I was so grateful, just to hear her story and to get that insight around, the life cycle of a business that you may start on social media. And, her website's just been launched. So hopefully she does really well now. And,
yay.
Yeah.
And, don't forget, this is also an important point about great assets, needing really nice nice assets for your
Oh,
website,
yeah.
and how that can bring things together once you've thought about the functionality, but help with professionalism. And yeah, I guess if anyone is looking for flat lays as well, it's go see Connie.
Connie Chan at What She Pictures.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah.
Cool stuff. I love it.
So just going back to when I set up my my second baby wear store, we touched on that earlier.
So the one built on WordPress?
Yeah. So this is Petite Bamboo. So it's French designer wear clothes. And I set this up, you know, to really, have another business in addition to my web design business. Multiple serial entrepreneur. And, so going back to these early days, I really, love to, set this up. But it all started when I was 5, when I was 8 months pregnant, working part-time. So, in between babies, I went back working part-time for the man. And I was 5 when I was 8 months pregnant. I thought, let me tell you, that it was, the worst thing in the world. I remember sitting out on the front porch with my husband and saying that, my job was over. And, I'd only had 4 more weeks left of until I went and had my baby. And it was really the low point that I needed to, really made a go of my business full time and stop sort of side hustling and really made it, full time. And I was in a fortunate position where I had an easy baby and he slept and I was able to work on my business. And, essentially I made life for myself. I could have easily have gone back to work after a period of time, but
and kept, the web design and the baby store on the side, but you decided to take that leap, which who knows, anyone that's on the webinar tonight, like if you're at that step, you kind of have your feet in both ponds and just needing that extra little push. Well, hopefully you get it tonight and we inspire you that you can do it.
Because,
success story.
And if I can do it, anybody can. Let me tell you, I just wanted to make it, really real for me and stop sort of, I don't know. Yeah, a foot in a pond is, the best way to describe it. I put everything in. As you can see here, I got professional photos done of my stock. I hired 2 photographers. One that was a professional photographer locally and another one was a friend of mine just starting out. And the images came up amazingly. So that was a high priority.
So we'll drill that in again about really rich, nice creative assets for your site.
Yeah. So I ended up replacing my income just by enormous amounts because I was so determined to not go back and work for someone and be under their rules. And especially if anyone's got kids, they understand the demands of children, young children, and finding a part-time job or if your children are at school, having school hours. And I just thought, no, there has to be a way I can do this.
So you created a website that sold your stuff.
Oh, yeah. Basically, yeah. So, and completely self-taught, as I said before, all on YouTube videos, tutorials. If there was something I didn't know, YouTube. Yeah, that's exactly where I went. And, I just basically self-taught that, my expertise grew to custom design.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I don't just design, I create, very high converting lead generating sites because I think there's a misconception that, especially if you're new to business, that once you have a website, it's just going to bring in the sales.
Yeah.
And if anyone can relate out there, it's not that simple, is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's an exciting time pushing that live button and sending your website like out into the internet. But then getting someone to actually find that website is a different. And, obviously my SEO background, I've seen this time and time again where people are disappointed that their beautiful website that they spent quite a bit of time and investing in it is just not bringing in any traffic. So making sure that it's designed with all of the elements that are required to convert and sell your stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not
we
just...
often say the tumbleweeds blowing.
I know, the tumbleweeds blowing in the wind.
People are refreshing their Google Analytics, which for those of you who don't know is basically where you can track your traffic as a Google product and should be connected to every website, and refreshing that over and over and just seeing big zip. Nothing. So
it's just not as easy as just creating, build it and they will come, as they say. Just not that simple. So it was really important for me that I offered my clients and now our students, a very high converting and the right smart marketing tactics
and
on your website.
The steps in which to go into that. But we'll
Yeah.
go into that. So look at you there.
I know. I'm so happy with my laptop,
So your success became real.
Yeah. And I could join my new baby and be there for my kids. This is my son graduating from kindy.
So cute.
Yeah. So, yeah. So 250 happy students, 400 projects completed. I'm sure it wasn't 20,000 hours work, but it felt like it.
I'm wondering how you calculated that. It's probably more. That's not that much.
Yeah, right.
You've been at it for years. So, I mean, yeah.
I know,
sure
right?
There's way more than that now. But it wasn't all smooth sailing because it seems to me like that's the picture that you're painting.
And that's the thing, as anyone in
Let's
business
all quit
knows,
our jobs now and build websites.
Yeah, I know. It's so many ups and downs, ebbs and flows. And, you know, there's a really, I should have dug it up, but there's a really great picture of what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And it's like you have massive wins and then you have massive falls. And yeah.
I've seen a picture of, I think Steve Jobs actually was just sitting in an empty room, like on a wooden floor.
Really?
Yeah. You know, having those moments where, and then create Apple.
Yeah, I know, right? I think KFC became successful at, Colonel Sanders became successful at 72.
Oh, wow.
72.
Okay, you're never too young to start either. Old to start.
I know.
Or young.
Or young.
Especially these days with all the entrepreneurs popping up at 10 years old.
Like the time I forgot to back up at client site, so that was fun. That was a major disaster, but you know, you learn from it. Now I'm, you know,
and you had to rebuild the whole thing, right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
You will never do that again.
Never, yeah. And that's the thing, like, you know, you'll learn from my mistakes. That's why I love doing this because you know, I now know what I need for my clients and my students, so that they don't go through some of the mistakes that I've been through. And I
taking one for the team.
Yeah, I have. So
that they don't, you know, people don't have to sit there watching endless YouTube videos and sifting through the great ones because
I know, right?
You've done that for them.
That's right. And I know that my proven strategy works. And I have the right formula to create a website that really works and really converts for you and is successful. And I could save you a lot of time trying to figure it out, you know, for yourself. So, what are your options? You could go down the self-hosting route, which is the self-hosted platforms we mentioned, like Shopify and Squarespace and
Wix. Shutter, terrible for SEO.
Never do it. And if you're on it, look at getting off.
Yeah. Hopefully that's why you're here.
Yeah. You could hire a web designer like myself. Or you could give it a crack yourself. So a bit of the DIY.
So there are 3 options. So
Shopify, Squarespace, and you would have heard these around. So I think there's a lot of
the Wix, stay away.
There's a lot of confusion around which platform do I be on, and there's so many as well. So it's I can understand the confusion. So and the problem with these self-hosted websites is that you don't actually own the website. So much like social media, you could spend time even hiring a web designer like myself, design a Shopify site. And, if you decide to sell one day, well, you don't actually own the site. Or if something happens to Shopify, they could just take your website away. Or
the moment you just decide that you don't have the monthly fee, the website comes down. So you stop paying, the website comes down.
Yeah.
To send it live again, you need to pay, or you have to go rebuild it somewhere else.
Yeah, that's right. And, they're very limited in capabilities, especially in terms of working on SEO for your site, functionality, and even design, in terms of design and aesthetics. It's only limited to what you can do. And, with these self-hosted platforms, they're very expensive because not only are you paying a premium, you're also paying transaction fees on top of the premium payment.
And also like apps, like if you are wanting your site to do something special, you normally have to purchase a special app for that.
That's right.
And before I was educated by you, Hayley, I just kind of thought that the monthly fee for these types of platforms was just the hosting, so to get the website up online and live. And so I was happy to pay that because I just thought everybody had to pay that. But I've now come to learn that you can get hosting, which basically is the part that you need to get your website live, for $4.95 per month.
I know,
whereas that's such a small fraction, of what the $50 to $80 per month that you do pay with these platforms. So you're paying for the privilege of using their platforms. Like, I'm not really sure what you're paying for. Once that website's built, you really you don't want to have to budget in a huge ongoing monthly fee. You're going to have enough with subscriptions, and Hayley and I know this, to grow your business. That's just an unnecessary cost. So why would you sign up for that?
Yeah, that's right. And if you want to, kind of move on and go,
in my opinion,
go, take your business to the next level, you can't just, export your website and put it on WordPress. It doesn't work like that. You have to start from scratch. The thing is with WordPress, it grows as you grow, and, you can add so many capabilities. It's, an open source platform.
So we're doing the flyaway thing again. The flyaway. So web designer, so that's you, although you don't call yourself a web designer.
Yeah, so I'm a web designer developer. The thing about us is that we can be costly, and we often, clients are at the mercy to, web designers, because if anyone's had a website developed by one, you constantly have to, be at work to their deadlines. It can be super expensive even to change little things.
Yeah.
You're not really educated in your own site and your own asset because you're relying on them, and you're very merciless.
And you, like with a web developer, obviously your communication is awesome, but you're juggling multiple projects, and so no one can be your priority. Whereas like when you're, I guess, building your own website, that's your baby, like you're the one that's in control as to how long you spend on something or how quickly you get something up. That's right. It's empowering, right?
Yeah, it's empowering. And some web designers have the lock and keys to your website. Which means that, you can't change anything without asking them and for them to quote you on every little thing. It just doesn't work. I mean, I don't work that way. I don't have, limited access like that. But I also find that if I'm doing everything for them, they're not really understanding their own website and waiting on me to change things when they could really, if they had the know-how, they could just pop in and change things. It's so important, I think, when you're running a business, to understand your website and to be able to maintain and update it yourself.
Yeah, because I mean, part of a robust digital strategy is having regular fresh content, and that's, a great SEO tactic, having a blog. So you don't want to have to rely on a web developer to upload every fresh blog article, or even something simple when your prices change. If you're e-commerce and you get new products, can you imagine being charged for every product added? Like, you really need to have a basic understanding of the back end, so that you can update content as you please.
Absolutely. And, you could even be in a situation where your web developer creates a website that just doesn't work. It doesn't convert for you. It has no lead generating tactics on there. And what could be worse than spending thousands and thousands?
I think, and I don't think you fall into this, Hayley, that's why I'm saying it, not with you sitting beside me. But I think, a lot of web developer designers are very technically minded. And so I guess practically what they execute is correct. Yeah, hey, I built you a website because that's satisfying a brief, which is to build a website. But Hayley, I think what you're saying is that the brief should be beyond that, and about thinking about the use of the website. That's great if you have a website that's physically there, but what does that mean in the real world? Like, what is the purpose of the website? Why was it built to begin with? So the code might be technically correct, but what does that mean? And I think that a lot of web developers are like, well, I've got this done for you. It's up, the website's up, and don't care about that strategy piece that you talk about so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, your final option is you could DIY, which we just love.
We love. And obviously you're a huge supporter of that because that's what you did initially.
Yeah. And then to go down this path, well, definitely to invest in yourself, like we said before, be empowered with your website.
Yeah, and hopefully that's why you guys are here tonight, to, learn more about that.
Yeah, and so learn as your business evolves. For example, I had this client who came to me today. She was on Wix, and there was no filtering, functionality, and she was increasingly frustrated by Wix, and there was basically nothing that she could do. She couldn't edit the code. She couldn't even get a developer to edit the code. They're limited. So, if she had the know-how, if her website was on WordPress and she had the know-how, perhaps she could find a plugin and really she could grow her website as her business grows and tailor it, you know.
I think a lot of people fall into the trap of this is good enough for now, but like you have to ask yourself, is now always going to be good enough for you, or do you want to set yourself up to scale? You don't have to want world domination. Like I, for one, I'm not really a world domination person, but I'm all about, you know, creating freedom for myself, and that in turn means scaling whatever business idea I have, and I need to be set up with the right platform and the right software in order to reach that potential. So why would I invest in something small when I know that I actually am aspiring to have this freedom, which only comes from growing a business? So thinking about the platform from the very beginning, there's no this is good enough for now, because you're going to have to spend more time later fixing it and changing it, whether that's moving off Wix because you just got it up quickly because you were doing other things in your business. There's a lot of things to be done in business. I just, you know, I went through it last year, setting up my own consulting, there's accounting, all that stuff, but nothing, I just really can't see anything that's much more important than your website.
Yeah.
Representing you out there, bringing leads in. So you want to make sure that you're set up for success. Sounds corny, but it's all true.
Yeah, you don't want to waste your time, if anything, as well, you know, to only have to start again. So as I mentioned before, I can teach you how to create a beautiful, gorgeous website, and one that's solidly built, one that, you know, is robust and, you know, wide in capabilities, and one that you can rely on, not one that has been created a bit dodgy by a developer, or one that's on Shopify and still doesn't look right, you know, that you're using a theme that you can't really, you know, work with. You really want a solid platform that it just works for you day in and day out. So you can get back to just running your business.
Yeah, and you can rely on it.
Yeah, because it's not just about...
And I think we've made that point now. Like, it's not about physically just putting something together.
Yeah.
Banging it together and going, I have a website.
Yeah. It's about one that will really work for you and one that you can rely on. A website is not set and forget, but the foundations have to be there, and then it's just all about...
So that you have the foundations to build on it, and so that it continually brings in leads.
That's right.
Sales.
Yeah, definitely. So as we said before, you know, build it and they will come.
Yeah, I'm sure you can relate to that. They said, build, that's what they said.
They said, who's they?
Here are the tumbleweeds.
Oh, the tumbleweeds. Yeah.
And they blew and they blew.
And I've had many a client who, not my clients, but clients who have had websites built that, you know, really didn't work for them. They've completely had a whole website built and had to start again because it just wasn't, you know.
Yeah, and even like, I mean, I guess me starting my website or getting my website up online, I mainly was doing it for the professionalism factor. So again, it wasn't enough. And for me, being business, I'm thinking LinkedIn and like that's enough for connections, and I'll just have my website to look professional. But that's all well and good. That can serve that purpose. But considering it's there, why don't you also make it high converting and optimize it for web? And I get leads from my website now, which are nice bonus leads, because I was really just doing that for the authority and to have that piece of real estate. So even, I guess, if you're thinking I'm not, my business isn't geared to sell, again, I don't know why you're on the webinar, but you know, it's why not? You're there.
Yeah.
Like, think about it in a different light.
And what else could your website bring you?
Yeah.
You know? So having that web strategy that I think you create actually before you go ahead and put the website together. So writing down a list of, you know, your goals for the website. It's one of the first questions I ask my clients and students, you know, what do you want the website for? Yes, is it pretty showcase? How many products do you want to sell? How many inquiries do you want to get? And positioning key elements on the homepage that will...
the big questions, things that you might not have thought about yet, but any money you've thought about the color of your logo.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It's just kind of that inequity of thought. You know, if you're going to give that much attention to logo, which aesthetics are important, put that into strategy as well, some thoughts into that. So how you tie it together.
You know, the functionality, I think that the perfect website has these three key elements. So it's the functionality, a beautiful professional design, and then a web strategy to convert. So, and, you know, in this day and age, you can't afford to have just a mishmash of a website because, you know, first buying impression, if somebody comes onto your site and it's just mashed together, that reflects badly on your
You
brand.
might as well not have one. So I think you get 3 seconds to make an
3
impression.
seconds,
I don't
maybe.
know. I might have made that stat up, but it's something like that.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, you know, you don't want to be mercy of your designer for, you know, 8 weeks with
6
no
to 8
sales.
weeks for a build.
You know, and then calls to action that lead to nowhere. Perhaps you've got, you know, contact us forms that just don't work.
We've learnt the hard way. You do have to test regularly to make sure that, you know, people can reach you in the ways that you think that they can, because often, you know, they can't.
Yeah. And, you don't want to do your business, you know, a disservice by, you know, having a website with no clear strategy.
You want that clear messaging out there.
So here are some of the key things that we recommend. First of all, as we've mentioned, WordPress.
You should have, definitely gotten that by now.
Yeah. So, and SiteGround for hosting, that's the $4.95 per month with business emails, great bandwidth, memory.
And great support.
Great support, yeah.
So especially as well, just as another aside, every website should also have an SSL certificate, which basically is telling the internet that your site is secure, news is on it, and that's great for SEO, and Google favors it. And SiteGround, if you get your hosting and your email addresses through SiteGround, you can also get your SSL certificate, which can be a pain in so many other ways. I've heard people having issues, but SiteGround support will actually just put the SSL certificate on there for you. So that, honestly, if that's any takeaways tonight, that's it, because the pain that people go through to get SSL certificates, when I know how easy you can get it through SiteGround, baffles. So if that's something you're struggling with, go to SiteGround.
Yeah. So, you know, if you've got already WordPress set up and you're with, you know, another host such as GoDaddy, to switch over to SiteGround, all you have to do is, you know, to transfer the website over, you just enter in your login details and they take care of it for you. It's much like your SSL. It's free. And, you know, they install it for you. And it literally took 30 seconds, not even. So I was on the phone to live chat support and it was done. I loved it. And, you know, so we'd recommend SiteGround. So really the ways to get online is you need WordPress, and that's a free open source platform. It's the leading market player. Disney uses it, NBN, Facebook. Like it's amazing.
I think Qantas as well, actually. I did tell you that. Yeah, I heard of that recently.
Wow. I think it's a misconception that it's a blogging tool.
Yeah.
It's not a blogging tool.
Yeah. Well, it is as well, and that's how it started, but it's now like it's developed into this, really professional, reputable platform for big brands.
Yeah. And then, so those are the basics. You need to put hosting on there, and then theme forest for, you know, for beautiful designs. So that's a typo there. It's not theme forest or beautiful designs.
You need both.
Yeah, you need both.
The beautiful designs in theme forest. So I think, maybe you take us through it, do you? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
How handy. Thanks, Hayley.
Yeah, so this is theme forest. Now you go into the WordPress section and here are all the beautiful themes, and you basically buy a theme and download it and put it onto your website, and that will give you, you know, a theme or a template. They're called either, is basically a developer who has designed a website, packaged it up, and put it on this marketplace ready for people like you to purchase.
And you can search by industry, which makes it super easy. Like, so straight away, I guess if you're an accountant like Sarah, you can go in and search accounting and see what other people in similar spaces are doing.
Yeah.
Not that you want to copy it, but, you know, why, you know, do extra work, create extra work for yourself and stand on the shoulders of giants to get to where what you want to look like. No doubt people have done a whole lot of research to arrive at that point. So you might as well utilize that.
Yeah, for sure. So
the steps.
So the steps definitely to purchase your theme.
So you go into Theme Forest and you purchase a theme license. And how much do they cost?
Oh, it's around like $40 to $80, and you purchase it with support so that when you're customizing your theme, you can lean on them for support.
And I think you
get a license for it.
Most great themes offer like 6 months of support. Yeah. So you can go back if you're having any issues.
Purchase extra support if you've, you know, reach your 6 months and you're still relying on the theme author, yeah, it's fantastic.
And how about in terms of reviews? Like, can you read reviews of different themes as well? Or?
Yeah, for sure. So the 5-star rating or the 4-star rating or the number of installs.
Right.
So,
I always look at that with plugins on WordPress as well.
Yeah, if you can see that other people are happy with the support, because really they're just a Joe Blogs who, created this.
A developer who's put up some code in a marketplace. Yeah.
And they have to get approved by Theme Forest. So you can be sure that most of them are good. But just it's like anything, buyer's sense to pick something that's good.
So then you just install it on your website?
Yeah.
It's a one-click installation or something?
It's a one-click installation. You download the demo data so it's ready there for you to customize.
So you can picture what it's going to look like before you put your content in there.
Yeah.
And then you go ahead and customize it.
Yeah, that's it. So
what else should you have in terms of, I guess, to sell your stuff? So you have the website, it's physically there, and what extra features you need to add in? So
definitely, and this is really important for lead generation, is adding in an opt-in in exchange for something of value. For example, on our website, we have our webinars. So that's also great. You can have an ebook, you can have a resources list, you can have top 10, top 10 tips on, something to do with your industry. It has to be related to your industry.
Yeah. They aren't quite ready to do business with you yet. Are still in that browsing mode, but they want the opportunity, or you should offer the opportunity for them to come back to you, which is to send them an email and to capture their email address to begin with.
Because you don't want them to just come onto your website and then click off and you've lost them. And they obviously came to your website because they were interested in your product. They're your target market. You really want to have opt-ins or pop-ups that are really, serving a purpose so that you can capture that audience and really capture who you're trying to target.
Yeah.
The goal, right?
And then click to call, which is pretty cool. That's a bit of a newer feature. And then again, you have to use that cleverly, because the moment you have click to call, you're obviously losing out on the email address. So I think making sure that you're thinking about where you want to position that. Perhaps you want to have that on a page after that you've already captured the email address, or in one of those power pages where you know that someone has only gotten that deep into your website if they've clicked through maybe 4 or 5 pages, and you can feel that they're sold. Offering that lead generation straight to you.
Yeah, for sure. And there's 2 opt-ins that we recommend, Pop-Up Alley and Sumo Me. They're both free. There's a premium version of each, but the free one will get you started.
Yeah, so, definitely. And I know there's a lot out there at the moment with SEO and pop-ups. There's been no official word from Google yet, except that Google likes what user likes, and no one likes, I don't know about you, but a pop-up straight in your face. So as soon as you visit a website, you want to give your user time to have a bit of a browse around and put a 20 to 30 second delay on that pop-up actually appearing, or even only having it show on exit intent. So you can set Sumo Me for when a cursor is going over to the right-hand cross, that then it shows the pop-up, so kind of like as a last chance, last-ditch effort, and making sure that you're always selecting the different mobile-friendly version for mobile. I see in a lot of cases, the pop-ups installed on a website, but not the different mobile version, which means, you're effectively losing a customer because that pop-up appears and it's too big for the screen. You can't even find the cross to cross out of it. That happens a lot more than you think.
Absolutely.
So Pop-Up Alley, or Thrive Leads, which is also good.
That's I think it's about $25 and gives you, broad types of opt-ins and ribbons and kind of banners that you can, strips across certain aspects of your site. So anyway, 2 opt-ins to check out, definitely. And an interactive quiz is another way to capture quiz to add, another lead generator. So everyone loves a good quiz, and people like to get involved, and make sure it's relevant to your industry.
We have a little cute survey on the homepage of I Do Digital Co. And, it's some thought-provoking questions as to whether you prefer wine or coffee. But, at the end of the quiz, we do ask, what stage of business are you at? So we're collecting some useful information that's for us so that we can offer the best content to you. But also it's engaging and interactive by offering those fun questions that we feel are directed smack bang at our target audience.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So some of the key elements to sure DIY success is definitely building in the right order, getting started.
So what do you mean by that?
So you should always build at the top fold and work your way down, just to sort of unveil your website and make sure that you don't get into in a mess with alignment. You can just build bit by bit. I don't recommend building, sort of the footer and then building the top bit, because it may not all come together.
Knowing me, I'd start with what I think the fun bit is, which is probably the middle bit where I'm going to have to play around with some images. And so you're saying be logical about it.
Logical. Get set up with the right hosting. You don't want to go to all this effort and build your own website and then have poor hosting with slow site speed, terrible support.
Another SEO factor. So if your server's in Whoop Whoop and it takes 20 seconds for your site to load, and then your images, which you also have to think about what else is on your website that has to load, terrible user experience.
And then taking time to create beautiful images. As I showed you before, I engaged, a priority for me was to create my images were very important to me and very important for presentation for the business. So I actually engaged 2 photographers. And then strong messaging, make sure that your brand message shines through. Often it's a good thing to just take a step back and have a look at your website, and maybe you can create a mud map on a piece of paper of the elements that you want on, the features that are important.
Get a bit old school with your pen and paper before you take it online.
Yeah, and have a look at, invest the time to research what's ultimately, important to you. So, we believe it can be done in 28 days.
And, it can be done more quickly than that, but 28 days seems to be that optimal number that you don't get overwhelmed and you build a quality product with thought. You know? Anyone can whack something up, but this is more about, the thought behind it. So breaking the 28 days down.
Yeah. So, choosing your domain and checking for availability, that's vitally important before you've even, especially if you're at the concept stage, you've got a fabulous idea, making sure that before you choose a business name and register it with ASIC, that you make sure that the domain is available. Pick your hosting, install WordPress. So we think it, would only take a couple of hours every week. This is how we've, especially if you're working full time and have this as a side hustle.
Yeah. In the evenings, pour the glass of wine and get to your task. So week 2 is the theme stuff that we talked about.
Yeah. Picking the theme, sourcing a beautiful theme, getting feedback on it perhaps, and installing it. And this is like putting the bones up. Week 3 is all about customizing your website, so adding a logo, designing, creating pages, configuring a rev slider, which is that rotating slider at the very top of the web of a website. Really effective, especially done with animation. Very easy to achieve as well. Adding, top and side menus, and making your website mobile tablet responsive. So
which we also touched on, and the go live, which is when you're feeling excited.
And, important steps of how to back it up, the security plugins that you need, browser testing, and actually, unveiling, and even especially with e-commerce, consider adding an online store. So with WordPress, you need to have WooCommerce.
So that's a plugin called WooCommerce?
Yeah, it's a free plugin and has really everything that you need. So just a reminder, I know we're getting pressed for time.
Yeah, we are actually. So we'll be wrapping up shortly, but we don't want you to go quite yet. So we're giving away 10 website audits. And don't forget, you can ask your questions as well at the end. So you have an offer tonight, Hayley?
Yeah, so it's our pop-up website e-course offer, and we'll actually be doing the hard yards of setting up the website for you, which is adding a beautiful theme to your domain to get you live in 3 days. So the really sort of, I guess you could say tricky for those that aren't familiar with,
configuring and setting up the technical piece. So we want you to spend those 28 days just doing, I guess, all the fun stuff and the strategy piece. So we don't want you to have to be spending the time actually getting your hosting and all that stuff sorted. You know, I mean, that you're going to have to do that to a degree, but we want to make sure that we do as much of the technical stuff for you as possible. And then in those 28 days, you are just customizing with the support of Hayley. So someone that's tried and tested different sales methods online and found the formula that works, guiding you.
Yeah, that's right. So I hear a lot that people can't afford to have their website developed potentially by me or a professional developer, that they've been quoted, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, we wanted to create something that was, through my teaching, something accessible to those startups that, you know, it was essentially out of reach. And this is perfect because we're actually putting the bones up. So we're putting the theme on, your hosting and your domain, and then handing over the keys to you within 3 days. And then it's all about, so the 4-week training program is all about customizing and making it pretty and adding your images and adding your content. And we have these weekly live huddles, which are actually group coaching through our live Facebook group, where we all come together and go over our roadblocks of the week that has been, really getting to know each other. And that community feel is, everyone loves it.
So basically, you sign up to Pop-Up website, and the investment, so for tonight it's $499 as an introductory offer, but usually $599. So in that time, in the next 3 days, you get handed a website that's ready to go in terms of the theme installation with some demo data. And then, you log into an online platform where there's easy to follow training videos showing you how to customize that website to make it your own and take it to the next level. And all the while, every week there's group huddles in the private Facebook group for any struggles or roadblocks. And you can do it alongside other women who are at the same stage of business. So some ideas of, I guess, what the website could look like. You get to pick a concept. So there's a couple of services templates and e-commerce.
So there's 3 e-commerce, so 2 e-commerce and 3 standard websites. And you pick the concept, and then I put it onto your domain and send you over the login details. So you're all ready to start the actual training to customize it. So really we're sort of taking out the difficult part and getting a head start on getting online, because I think that can be a real roadblock. You get stuck on, setting up some of the basics.
So just to be clear, it's still demo data at the point of handover, and, it's your job to customize it, but you can dedicate those 4 weeks literally doing that rather than banging your head against the wall trying to work out some of the tech pieces, which often is the reason why I think people call it quits and move on to Wix, and calling it quits too early. So we advocate WordPress and this method of DIY so much that Hayley, you've developed this pop-up e-course just so that you don't get stuck.
Yeah, because we don't want you to feel like you're, sort of going it alone and
in the huddles,
suffering in silence. Yeah, you'll have me to hold your hand along the way and make sure
I'll pop in and out, offering SEO advice, but really it's Hayley bringing home this one. So we love helping and teaching, and hopefully that's come through tonight. Our style, is quite casual and down to earth, because we are just, one of you guys. We also made the leap and started our own businesses and been going it alone, and we are really passionate about, empowering you and showing you that you can do it yourself as well. So this is an example of one of Hayley's huddles.
This is me
live in the group.
Room. So and everybody loves them, likewise with your course, Karina. Love coming together, and it's the networking in a group of like-minded individuals. That's it.
So this is an example of the video lessons and the online platform.
This is the platform. So all video style with a resources list. Some of the common things is you don't have time, and it's like saying you don't have time for sales or leads, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So here are some fans of past.
So Tammy, so she loved the training videos, weekly huddles, and discuss concerns and questions. So even I think sometimes the roadblock can be you just want someone's permission or validation to take it, the next step. And Hayley offers that plus, a recommendation as to have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And over the 4 weeks really gets to know you and your business and what might work for you in terms of customizing your website. Yeah. And Jackie, she's awesome. She's doing restoring furniture or something.
That's right, interior design furniture. And so, we have intakes of students, and Jackie was one of our first students, and she still comes to the huddles. So
that's how much she loves the community feel. And you can always improve your website. That's the thing; it's ongoing. So and Sarah,
she had a really specific vision for her site. So she was really happy with, the outcome and the way it looked. So that's Sarah. And
so again, the investment, so $499, and you can head to www.iddigitalco.com.au/pop-up-website.
Yeah.
We'll also pop it in the comments. Feel free to go and check it out. There's a lot more detail over there with all of the offerings and the inclusions. And don't forget, you can always ask us any questions. So we want you to walk away from this masterclass tonight, and I guess any interaction that you have with us, feeling motivated and ready to take action. So we've got lots going on in our digital group and in our Facebook group. So you're limiting it to 20 spots. Mm-hmm. And that's because of the personal coaching element?
Yeah, because we like it to keep the numbers small and for it to be intimate, so I can manage everybody and tracking how their websites are going. Mm. So just to 20 spots, we found that that's a good number, and limiting that. Yeah.
So pop-up website. Definitely check it out. So we're going to go to some. Perhaps you have them already. Okay, cool. So, all right, we'll start maybe with Melinda.
Okay.
So Melinda's on Shopify and thinking about moving to WordPress. Is it easy to change your web address over? And I've never heard of an SSL certificate. So no worries. SSL certificate is fairly straightforward. And, that's, I guess, more of an added bit once you have your website live, in terms of SEO, especially in e-commerce. You want to have that little padlock to show that you are a secure website, and that will certainly help your visitors when they're shopping. In terms of how easy it is to move from Shopify to WordPress, Hayley?
So you're basically starting again and setting up a new website. And I guess the benefits are that, if you're moving over to WordPress, there are less fees in the long term because you're not paying transaction fees as well as PayPal fees, as well as your monthly premium, as well as extensions. So, it's cost effective. That would be a big reason to move, as well as just being more powerful for SEO and more malleable in what you can do with WordPress. It's the leading market player for platforms. So, and then once you do that, if you've got an e-commerce store, you just add an SSL certificate, and that just creates a lot of buyer's trust and make sure that, their credit card, your customers' credit card details are safe and secure. And it's required if you are using payment gateways like Stripe or PayPal or
and it's definitely been an official word from Google that they prefer sites with SSL. So
right.
And David says that you can actually use Microsoft Flow to allow integration between social media and I guess your other business processes. So that's good to know. I didn't actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So that's cool. I wonder how easy that is to set up for novices. But so Tanya, you're starting out an event equipment hire business, so trying to get in the swing of it, and services. Yeah, that's cool. So obviously website is perfect for that. And I know there's a bit of talk here about getting your website found in Google. It is difficult. So If you're at that stage, perhaps you would be interested in learning a bit more about SEO. So we also run a Google domination course and have a webinar coming up in the next couple of weeks, especially around local search. So what you can do to get ranked in your local area. So make sure that you are part of our ID Digital Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/ID Digital. And yeah, in there we have lots of kind of free digital marketing advice, including SEO, with some tips as to how to get started. You know, it is increasingly hard to get your website found in Google. So the only way is, like website builds, to have a very strong strategy and to make sure that you stick at it. And then, we're just going to pop the link in here to the webinar. And then I think we've got time for like one more question. And then you can always as well email us at hello@iddigitalco.com.au. And of course, we'll do some follow-up after the webinar as well in case you had any further questions. But hopefully this has helped you / inspired you tonight. Cool. I thought I saw one. Oh, yeah. So Jess changed to BigCommerce to Shopify, wondering about 301 redirects. So 301 redirects is basically so that you don't have any broken links. So, if you've already got rankings in Google and bringing in traffic, you don't want to change platforms and then render those links useless. You want to make sure that people are still finding you at that link, can find your new website. So it is important to put redirects in place, and that's really easy in WordPress. There's a plugin, so you can literally just download a redirect plugin and input your redirections that way. So when you do move any platforms, there is a risk that you will lose traffic slightly and rankings a little bit initially. That's normally only for a couple of months, and then you bounce right back up. And then, obviously if you're moving to a more scalable platform, it's better in the long run. So it's one of those, if you're on the edge about making the leap, better now than later. But yeah, it's about making sure that migration happens seamlessly, and having a checklist to make sure that you've checked everything off. Like Hayley's certainly done migrations. We've worked with lots of people who have done migrations, including big companies, and they're always better for it in the long run. So jump on that link, check it out if you want to hear, find out more about that offer. It's pretty appealing in my book, with all of the heavy lifting of the tech stuff and you focusing on the customizing. Yeah. So yeah, we hope that you've enjoyed the presentation, gotten to know us a little bit more, and gotten some tips about getting started, and we've given you a little bit of motivation to do that.
Thanks everyone for joining us, giving up your time.
And until next time, guys. So thank you very much. Enjoy your night. Bye.
Bye.